For a sugar-free alternative to energy drinks, go to gamersubs.gg and use the code BigFry for 10% off your order. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Bigfry. Today I want to talk to you guys about Battlefield. Not Battlefield 5, but the future of the Battlefield franchise. And this video is actually being spawned from a video I saw from Westy, who is a very prominent YouTuber in the Battlefield scene. The next Battlefield game should be multiplayer only. That was the title of his video. It caught my attention right away, as well as a lot of other people. The video is actually sitting about 50-50 in terms of likes and dislikes. I know there's a lot of people who do enjoy the single player campaigns, so I knew that this video was going to be controversial. But it's definitely going to be the kickstart to the beginning of this video. I personally think right now that there is some sort of identity crisis going on with the Battlefield franchise. When I grew up playing Battlefield on the PC, Battlefield 2 was phenomenal. It was a lot more grounded in reality, a lot more tactical. That then, you know, spawned into mods like Project Reality, which, as you guys know, then turned into its standalone version of Squad. So you can kind of see the Battlefield franchise has taken on a way more casual route, but the roots of tactical, more hardcore gameplay like Squad and Project Reality. But if you take those two games, Squad and Battlefield, the difference between the two, I mean, obviously right off the bat in terms of core gameplay, is the time to kill. Squad is very hardcore, 1 to 2 bullets and you're going down. Battlefield back in the day wasn't actually like that, but yet it still had a more grounded tactical feel to it, and obviously nowadays it is not like that at all. The game has changed significantly over the past, I'm gonna say, 7 to 8 years. And now we're here with Battlefield 5. Sales still really good. We made a video about it a little while ago, but I still feel like it's in an identity crisis. It doesn't know where to go. They've gone this very casual route with the pacing of the game. It basically turned into a larger scale Call of Duty type experience. But with Battlefield 5, you can definitely see that there are some elements that are trying to like reel in the casual experience and bring it back down to a more grounded tactical. The lack of ammo when you jump in, the idea of putting up fortifications and building like little strongholds along the map, the teamwork element is in Battlefield 5 a lot more than it was in Battlefield 1. So I see them making attempts to kind of bring it back down to a little bit more of a tactical teamwork based shooter. But right now, Battlefield isn't that. When people think Battlefield, they don't think teamwork. They just think large-scale, crazy explosion, Michael Bay type experiences with a beautiful engine running all of this. I would love, and this is obviously just me talking because I come from a tactical shooter background, thinking back to Battlefield 2 and how much teamwork it took to actually take the points moving through the map. I remember playing Strike at Karkan, and it was game-changing for me at the time. And I think Battlefield has really lost that idea of squad-based teamwork. And I like to think of another game that really did this well when everything was executed, and that was Meg. If you guys remember Meg, it was a game, I think it came out in 2010, Zipper Interactive, 256 players in one game, 128 versus 128. But the cool thing about it was, even though it was large scale, every squad was broken down and every squad had their own objective. So you had squads 1 and 2 going to point A and B, squads 3 and 4 going to C and D, and then it would come together at the end for one huge clash. And I actually love that idea of different objectives on a battlefield being put to different squads. So it feels like you're in a large scale war, but it's not just Zerg rushing points all the time, spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die. I feel like that's where Battlefield is right now, is that spawn, die, spawn, die. There's no tactics involved. You run, you take the point, and then you move to the next one, and that's really it. I feel like if they could do something, take a step back, take a few years to really refine a solid, modern tactical experience, I think that would be phenomenal. And then you have maps where you could do the jets and the tanks and all that, but just bring it back down to reality. Bring it back down to, I'm not going to say a hardcore time to kill and stuff, because I think Battlefield actually has right now a solid time to kill, but the pacing, the objectives, and the overall gameplay feel is just, it's just Zerg Rush at this point, in my opinion. Watching the video from Westy, he makes a few points about how they're focusing resources on the single player experience, and he thinks if they were to take that and scrap the single player completely and then just focus on a really refined multiplayer experience. Here's the thing about that, and this is a direct response to what Westy said in his video. The problem when studios do this, they say, guys, we know you don't want to play the single player. A lot of our players are here for the multiplayer. So what they do is they axe the single player, and then they don't actually put more resources into creating more content and more everything for a refined multiplayer experience. What they're going to do is they're going to axe the single player and then put out the exact same type of experience that they've been putting out for the past, 4 years. So what we're going to get is a game that essentially costs the same amount, has less content. I would agree with Westy if he really stressed in his video to actually refine and make a fucking solid Battlefield title. Something that isn't so Zerg Rush arcadey casual, but something that isn't so hardcore like Squad, where people are just gonna like jump in, get frustrated, and leave right away. I think they need to take some time and really strike a balance and create a solid, more grounded Battlefield experience. So when I see that, I agree with what Westy is saying on paper, but it all depends on what DICE and EA are willing to do for their multiplayer side of things, because what I find is they've been creating games for the last, I'm gonna say 6 to 7 years, that are just rinse and repeat. You play for a little while and then you realize that there's really nothing else there. Now, I know there's going to be people in the comments that are Battlefield fans. You guys are loving it, and that's awesome. I'm not trying to just say the game is fucking shit, because obviously it sold 7.3 million copies or something like that. It's doing very well. But I'm just saying, I feel like they've added a couple sprinkled changes that just remind me of, like, it's almost like there's people at DICE that remember the good old days of actually creating a game based on teamwork, based on objective-based gameplay. And it sucks because I feel like Battlefield is just being churned into the machine like every other game that we're getting in the AAA space right now. And I've been wanting to talk about Battlefield for a little while and where I think they should go. I really think it should be a modern game with an emphasis and core focus on splitting up into smaller squads and actually doing objectives that matter instead of just running around the map and basically playing a large TDM or a large domination like we have been for the past 10 years. A lot of the comments on Westy's video were people calling out DICE and EA for not being a trendsetter. Instead, they're chasing the trends that the industry is giving them, instead of being a leader and establishing new gameplay experiences like they did back when Battlefield 2 came out, and even when Battlefield 3 came out. DICE and EA, this isn't the same franchise that it was back in 2011, 2005. It's just not. If they came out and they said we're scrapping the single player and then gave us an absolutely stellar, amazing multiplayer experience that's focused on objective-based, teamwork-based gameplay, grounded in reality, and specifically a modern experience, I think a lot of people would jump on that train and actually build this game out to have a lasting impact. Even though I know making games that have lasting impacts aren't good for revenues because it's easier for them to just keep feeding the machine every year with new games, I wish we could have something for the long haul. Everyone likes to talk about live services, games as a service, and I think Battlefield could be a good candidate for that type of experience, as long as the gameplay is there and as long as they are consistently keeping up with new maps, new guns, and just new content. I think they could actually make something really special if they just took the time to really look at what put Battlefield on the map back in, like I said, 2005 and 2011 with Battlefield 3. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. I saw Westy's video on there. I'd be okay with no single player as long as that meant that we get an actual solid multiplayer experience, which I have absolutely no faith in them to deliver if they axed the single player. And I think that's where the core problem lies with a lot of people, especially reading through those comments. Nobody has faith that they can actually deliver a solid multiplayer experience. They don't think that they would put more resources into it. They're just going to go for the bottom of the barrel, least amount of work possible to get our money. And I think that's the notion that EA has to overcome moving forward with Battlefield, because they burned a lot of people. I think they could have sold a lot more if they didn't pull what they did. And I think they have to get back into the good graces of the Battlefield community as a whole. And I'm curious to see what their plan is to do that moving forward. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Come through to the Discord. All those links are down in the description below. We're trying to build out our community, hit 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate all the support. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm out to lunch, but I think a modern, more tactical, more teamwork-based experience is what the fucking franchise needs. And if you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know what you would like to see from the Battlefield franchise. My name is Bigfry. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.